Hello, everybody. Welcome on back to Fantasy Football Futures. I am Tyler, and this is Tim.
How's it going?
And today we're going to go over part 2 of the Week 12 matchup preview. Give the last 6 games of the week, and then we're going to go over a must start and fade for this week in each game. Not each game, just at each position. And then we will catch you on the Pick'em episode after. But let's go ahead and jump right into Week 12 matchup preview, part 2. Just keep an eye out for injury reports. You never know what's going to happen. But starting out here, we have our first game, Jets at Texans. Super great game. Can't wait to watch it.
I'm starting 2 guys in this whole.
Brandon Cooks?
Yep.
Tyrod Taylor?
He's honestly, no. Elijah Moore and Brandon Cooks. Only 2 people I'm starting.
Yep. That's what. So I actually like Elijah Moore, Brandon Cooks. You're playing in flex for sure. Elijah Moore's come on lately. Zach Wilson coming back, starting at quarterback for them, so that's going to be interesting to see what happens there. But I think if I'm starting anybody, if I was in dire need of anything, maybe Tyrod Taylor if I needed an absolute late pickup.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're picking him up. There should be more options out there.
Yeah.
And then with Michael Carter out,
Ty Johnson
could be a late play if you needed somebody, but
what about David Johnson with Phil Lindsay gone now?
No,
Not Johnson.
I don't like David Johnson. He hasn't done much.
Talk about a guy that really fell off.
Yeah, last couple of years. Yeah, number 1 pick I think like 3-4 years ago, and now just non-existent.
Yep.
He had okay numbers last year because of Deshaun, but they don't throw him the ball. They don't hand him the ball off at all, and so what a great trade for him and. Him for DeAndre Hopkins just really paid out well for everybody. So, this game going to be kind of game. I'm not playing anybody outside, like I said, Moore. And then Brandon Cooks, who kind of had a very disappointing week.
Yep.
So, that's our first one. Not really much to say there.
Don't need to.
It is what it is. But the next matchup we have here is Chargers at the Broncos. This one I think will be a very interesting game. You have the Chargers defense, who gives up 7th most points again, or is 7th best against quarterbacks. They are terrible against running backs, which they're 29th against running backs points wise, 2nd against receivers, and then 31st against tight end. This week, looking at the Broncos against this Chargers defense, I'm loving Melvin Gordon, and I even like Javonte Williams too. Javonte, you can play at a flex. It's going to be a low-end flex play, but I think the Chargers defense is that bad against the run. I love Melvin Gordon, and then I like Javonte Williams here as well. And then you're looking at Jerry Jeudy, I think is a must start each week now at flex for sure. And then Noah Fant, I think this week is a must start play because of how bad the Chargers defense is against tight ends. So I don't really care for Teddy, but I love the running back game, and then I think Jerry Jeudy's their best receiving option. And then you got Noah Fant this week, who I think will sneak in for a touchdown. So, against them, I just feel like this is going to be a close game, but the Chargers defense, they do struggle a little bit. We saw last week, they gave 24 points to the Steelers in the 4th quarter. Freiermuth was a big part of that as well. Deontay Johnson was a big part of that. And then Najee, who had a worse game than what people thought. The Steelers do little things a little bit different than the Broncos, where the Broncos, I feel like, love to pound the ball first. So, to me, it's Javonte, Melvin Gordon first, and then you're looking at everybody else after that.
Yeah, I agree. I wish the Broncos only had like that one running back they went to, because I would love that running back. With Gordon Williams, it's hard to tell, but still play both. I can see them both scoring a touchdown this game. That's how bad the Chargers' run defense is.
Melvin Gordon, I think he has the leg up on Javonte, I think, if you're looking to start one of them. So I like him a little bit more, but I also like Javonte. Like, he's a guy who can easily score a touchdown, like you said.
Yep.
They use him in the pass game, kind of alternate series, so I like them both this week for sure.
Yeah, I also like Jerry Jeudy just getting all those targets. With Sutton, just signed himself a contract as well for the Broncos. I think
Patrick
Sutton did too.
Oh yeah,
they both did. Yeah, it was 4-year extension worth $60 million, 34 guaranteed.
Hell of a gig.
Yeah, so I don't know what their I don't know if they're trying to get wide receivers and then maybe going for a quarterback after the season. I don't know what the plan is. But, yeah, I like Jared Jeudy. I think you can start Sutton, too. This Chargers defense, their passing against wide receivers were usually pretty good at the beginning of the season, but they've been kind of exposed a little bit against the last week against the Steelers and the week before that. I forgot who they played, but kind of getting exposed, scoring a lot of points. Yeah, Eagles. And then a lot of points being scored on them. So I like
Vikings.
Vikings. There you go.
Eagles, Vikings, then Broncos.
Yep. So I do. That's why I like Fant, Jeudy, Sutton, and then that's where I'm fine with starting Gordon, Williams. I'm not that big on them just because they split, so it's almost a guessing game. But there is a chance they both score touchdowns. That's how bad that Chargers running back.
I think Gordon's the lead one of the two. So if you have both, that's who you throw in there. But they're fully capable of doing that. So. Broncos-wise, defensively, they're 4th against quarterbacks, 11th against running backs, 17th against wide receivers. Points given up, but they're 1st against tight ends. Don't love Jared Cook, never have, so I'm not going to play him. Justin Herbert, I think it's a no-brainer. Yep. I don't care who they're playing, you're going to start him because of what he can do. And what he showed last week, he can move a lot, too, on his feet, which was pretty much a game-changer for their offense last week. Austin Eckler, you got to play him because of what he can do receiving the ball out of the backfield each week. He's not McCaffrey, but he's the closest thing to it probably in the league right now. Just catching the ball, not running it. But yeah, so like those two for sure. Then Keenan Allen, I think, is a much start. The one person I'm teetering on the edge with right now is Mike Williams. I'm
kind of feeling
he had a big game last week, and I was big on him last week. This week, I just don't know with this team. I feel like Keenan Allen is the focal point, but Mike Williams, like we saw last week, he can take a little quick screen and go to the house.
I was just saying, if you take away that big play, that touchdown, he didn't do it it's only one big play. But that's what he brings to the table every week. He has that ability to make that big play. I'm not liking him this week. Denver's defense is better against the wide receivers, so I'd like just going Keenan Allen.
That's what I was thinking.
Mike Williams, you're going to have to play him
for a flex option.
But I don't think he's a wide receiver 2 this week at all.
No, he's a flex play, I think. Keenan Allen, I think, is a must start no matter what. He's proven again that he's their best option on the team. And I think this game will be close. I think it could be another 23-20 game, kind of like when they had against the Eagles. But the Chargers, they looked better last week, but I still think that offense is in sync. So I'm sticking with Herbert, then Allen, and then Eckler for sure. Williams, you can go back and forth either way. If you have a Williams or Devontae Smith, I think you're playing Devontae Smith over this
100%.
week easily. So to me, it's just kind of who you got and who can you play there instead of him. But then Broncos side of the ball, it's the main. I love the 2 running backs. I think you can play. Then you have Jeudy and Fant are the must starts this week. So
I feel like Sutton, Mike Williams are kind of in that same boat where you can play them in a flex league.
And Patrick, they're all the same. It's like you can play them because they might do something, but you just really don't know. That's Chargers at Broncos. The next matchup we have here is Rams at Packers. This game is going to be a close one. I feel like Packers coming off that loss against Minnesota. The Rams going into Lambeau. I love the Packers. Love Devontae Adams. I know him and Jalen Ramsey always go after it. But I think Devontae's better than Jalen Ramsey. Devontae's too good. I love you're playing both of them. The one area you look at here is Rams are the 9th best against running backs. Are you starting A.J. Dillon after kind of the disappointing week we saw last week?
No, I don't know. Is Aaron Jones officially out? Because he is.
I thought so.
He was limited on Thursday's injury report.
So it could be back.
So there is a chance he's back. Honestly, I'm staying away from the Green Bay Packers running backs this week. I know running backs can be thin, so you might have to play them.
Yeah.
But if you have the ability not to, I think you go with that. I think there's better options out there this week, like the Williams or Gordon to play over A.J. Dillon.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking. That they're both playing. I'm not playing either because Jones coming off an injury. You never know. If it's just Dillon, you might play. Hopefully that he gets a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not riding too high on that. And really, outside of that, you're looking at Rodgers and Adams. Are you playing like Valdez-Scantling or Lazard this week? If they're both in, I know Lazard was out last week, and MVS is a great boom or bust guy to play in your lineup if you actually take the risk on him. Like I did last week in a league, and he had that like 72-yard bomb that he caught for a touchdown. So really, it's just
I'm not a big fan of MVS. I think it might have been a one-time thing. He had 8 targets week 1, and then he had 4, and then out for a long time, then 2, and then 10 again. So it's literally boom or bust. I think this kind of goes down because they're not playing the Vikings defense again. Yeah. The defense, defense not good.
If Lazard isn't playing, I think you can play him as a low-tier flex.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, I'm not, like I said, I'm not touching him either because Lazard comes back, you got Cobb. Those guys are all above MVS, but I don't know, it's a tough play for me. It's just you're looking at Rodgers and Adams for sure, and I'm not touching a whole lot from Packers. I think Packers still win this game because it's in Lambeau. I think that's a difference maker. But outside of that, I don't expect a whole lot out of the two of them. And then you look at the other side of the ball. Packers give up 10th most points to running backs. They're 10th best against running backs, 10th best against wide receivers, 10th best against quarterbacks, and then 16th best against tight ends. You're not really worried about Higbee too much. Cooper Kupp, no-brainer. Matt Stafford, no-brainer. Daryl Henderson Jr. coming off a bye. Maybe a little bit more healthier, I think is a play.
I think he'll have a bounce back. I think this is a week where you start where you're starting Henderson over like A.J. Dillon or Aaron Jones this week. I think I like Henderson this week. Hopefully he has a bounce back week. If he doesn't, I think that's when you start to worry about Henderson.
I think so too. He's coming off a bye, so they're finally getting a little bit more chance for him to heal. It's just, I think that you got to involve him more in the pass game in order for them to be successful. I'm interested to see how this game's going to look and what they're going to try to do against Cooper Kupp and how much they move him around. Are you going to play Odell?
I'm not. Never been an Odell fan this year. I know he's projected like 13 points.
That's solely because of his name.
I'm not going to start him until I start seeing production weekly out of him.
Oh, yeah. And I think it's still early. To me, it's such a weird transition for him to go to the Rams because it's like, hey, we throw the ball to Cooper Kupp. All right. Well, let me go play and throw a fit about not getting the ball thrown to me. But Stafford's a little bit different than Baker, and he'll take shots. So I'll be interested to see what that looks like. But, yeah, Ram size, I think it's Henderson, Stafford, and who else? Kupp.
And then, you playing Higbee? You think Higbee?
I don't know. I don't like Higbee. He has his games. He's a touchdown threat, is essentially what you look at. It's just, to me, the Packers are they're average against tight ends, so it just comes down to the fact that do you want them to be, do you take that risk and them so focused on Kupp that they're going to sneak a ball into Higbee in the red zone?
Yep. So I'm not sure him either. It's all touchdown. It's not a lot of targets or anything like that. It's only in the red zone.
So yeah, I think this will be one of the best games in the 3:00 slate. So I'll be excited to watch that. And then we got Vikings at 49ers. Vikings have hit a stride here the last couple weeks. Beat the Chargers. Then they beat the Packers last week. Vikings, I think, is a team that's better than what their record said for sure. We've been saying that, like, when we talk outside of this, I think Vikings are one of the better teams. It's just they can't stop anybody. And then like the Bengals game, Cook fumbled, which I don't think was a fumble. Their kickers been
missed against the Cardinals. Yeah. They honestly, thinking back on it, they should be like 7-4. No, 7-3.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's a very interesting team. You're going against a 49ers team who's also won the last two.
Yeah, they're hot as well. Two hot teams playing each other.
So I don't really know. You got the Vikings here defensively. They're 29th against quarterbacks, 23rd against running backs. This is the 32nd against wide receivers, 8th against tight ends. It's must start Debo, must start
Ayuk,
must start Kittle. And I even think Jeff Wilson, if he plays again, becomes a must-play factor. Elijah Mitchell worries me because when I was reading, He's only carrying the ball in his good hand. He's not catching any passes or anything. So I don't know. If Elijah Mitchell plays, I'm not touching running backs. But if he does it, I like Jeff Wilson kind of to be a nice RB2 play or even a flex option here. But yeah, so I'm looking at that for 49ers. I even think here Jimmy G might be a nice play at quarterback because of Deebo Samuel and how bad this Vikings defense is against pretty much everybody. Their offense just keeps them in the game.
Yeah, it's hard for me to play Jimmy G, but if you're going to play him any week, I think this is the best week to play him. He's not a big game time quarterback. He hits the ball into his best players' hands and let them do work. So it could be where Samuel breaks off a few long runs, and that's where Jimmy G gets a lot of points. Hopefully they're like short passes.
Yeah.
Because last week Samuel had touchdowns, but they're all runs. They threw one to Ayuk, I think, touchdown wise. So I think that's a good play. I think there are better quarterbacks, but if you're needing one, like at the last second, Jimmy G could be a good quarterback play.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You're looking at 49ers defensively, they're middle road against everybody. 7th best against wide receivers, though. So that's something to keep an eye out for, but it's just your normal song and dance. You got Cook, Thielen, Jefferson. You're starting every single one of them, more than likely. Kirk Cousins, though, was an interesting play. He has been better than he has in the past. He's been more consistent. I think the deep ball threat to Jefferson plays a lot into it, and I feel like he's a guy you could start and plug in and play this week for the Vikings because of what he's shown this year. So to me, you're looking at Thielen, Jefferson, Cook, and then Cousins for your starting at the Vikings.
Yeah, he threw for 341 yards and 3 touchdowns last week against the Green Bay's defense. Actually looked pretty good for a while. So same as 49ers defense, still pretty good. I do like Kirk Cousins this week. I think I would take him over Jimmy G just because of the ability for Kirk to throw the ball around and the weapons he has. He has Jefferson, just like kind of how Jimmy G has Samuel, but he also has Thielen in the end zone. He has Conklin as well in the red zone, and then he dumped off Dalvin Cook. So a lot more weapons, and anything can happen each week when you have those weapons around you.
Yeah, and we've seen it the last couple weeks. It's just Justin Jefferson he's too much. He's a lot.
Top 5 wide receiver.
To handle. Yeah, so I think this will also be the 3 o'clock slate's much better than the
noon games.
So,
100%.
Something to keep your eye out there. Then the Sunday night game matchup we have here is Browns at the Ravens. This is another matchup I think to be very close. But I mean, you look at the Ravens. You're starting your normal guys. I think you're staying away from Freeman is who I'm looking at. I'm not starting any Ravens running back. You're going to start Lamar. You're going to play Marquise Brown. I think Rashad Bateman has worked himself into it.
I think you're playing Bateman each week just because of how much that flex play.
Yeah, to me it's Bateman, Andrews, Brown, Lamar who are must starts each week now. And I think, like you said, Bateman has worked himself into a nice number 2 slot there. Sammy Watkins might be a guy you see on the outside looking in who might get a play here and there. But to me, I think those 4 are the main key players for the Ravens this week.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Especially with Latavius Murray back, I'm not starting Freeman just because you never know what's going to happen behind there. Lamar Jackson looks healthy, so I'm playing him. Marquise Brown I 100% agree with you. Just the main players there.
Yeah. Brown-wise, I don't love Baker against this matchup. So if I have Baker, I'm probably sitting him this week. It's just I don't know. But these are kind of games he gets up for too, and he has really well performances. So I don't know. I'm sitting Baker. Nick Chubb, you're playing. Then you got wide receiver-wise, Jarvis, I think, is your best play. And really outside that, I don't trust anybody outside of the receiving room in Cleveland.
No, Landry's it. It's always been Landry, no one else. Even when Odell was there, I was not starting any other ones.
No.
So I like starting Landry. I think you go to Nick Chubb. I don't think I'm staying away from Kareem Hunt this week just because you don't know what he's going to do. So I think it's going to be big Nick Chubb. So I like him, Landry, not really starting any tight ends. this week, and I'm not playing Baker Mayfield.
If I'm looking at what you can look at the Browns tight ends, Ravens are 29th against tight ends.
That is very true.
So I think you're picking. But here's the thing with the Browns: it's so tough with Njoku and Hooper on who's going to be the one to score the touchdown. So it's pick or choose, but I think if you're picking one of them, Njoku might be the guy this week for them. So it's going to be a tough matchup, though. Browns-Ravens going to be a close game. But yeah, so then let's go to our last matchup here, Monday Night Football. Seahawks, Washington football team. I'm pretty sure it's in Seattle, isn't it?
No, it's in Washington. Yeah, this is a bad Monday Night Football game.
Yeah, you got Washington defensively 32nd against quarterbacks, 18th against running backs, 28th against wide receivers, 19th against tight ends. Have won the last two games against the Bucks, Panthers, Seahawks, who have looked atrocious the last 2 weeks. They're defensively for Seattle, they're 12th against quarterbacks, 30th against running backs, 15th for tight ends, and 11th against receiver. Washington football team, Antonio Gibson has been up and down, but are you playing him this week?
I think you are. I think you're just playing your main guys. Gibson, he's getting the ball more, looks a little bit healthy. Seattle's defense isn't that great, so I'm going your top guys, Antonio Gibson and then Terry McLaurin.
That's why I like Terry here. Logan Thomas isn't expected back this week, is he? I don't think so.
He was practicing today and on Wednesday, but they expect him to play Monday night.
Okay, so then he might be a play here as well. Big touchdown guy. He's big body, so that's something to keep an eye out for with Logan Thomas in Seattle. So his first game back, maybe not play him, but at the same time, it's their best option outside of Gibson and McLaurin. Heineke, I don't think I'm playing. I actually think Seattle wins this game because of how bad Seattle's been and how hot Washington's been. It's a weird NFL season. You look at the other. I think this is a week. Russ comes he's not gonna come back to form, but he's gonna have a solid week. I think DK Metcalf has a huge game this week. In this game, Tyler Lockett is well. I don't think he'll have as big a game, but I think he has a competent performance. And I think Alex Collins, when you're playing a rushing defense that isn't great, he might be a sneaky flex play here too. It's just Washington gives up so many points to different positions. I love DK. Lockett can even be a flex play. And Russell Wilson, I think, has a bounce-back week. And then Alex Collins is a sneaky touchdown play this week for me.
Yeah.
At flex, I'm not putting him in RB2.
Yeah, I think there is a possibility, but also I think this is where Metcalf steals all those red zone targets. Okay. I think Metcalf can get 2 touchdowns. You have to play Lockett just because of the potential of the big game. So yeah, I think Russell does have a little bit of bounce back. I can also see Seattle winning this game because how down they are now, how hot the football team is. Yep. I think it might be where, of course, just like when the Seahawks win a game, and you're just like,
they shouldn't,
and they shouldn't win it because they just haven't been doing good. Yeah.
So. Good games this week. That's our preview for each game. Let's go ahead and go to start and fade. I'll get my start and fade at quarterback first. My start at quarterback this week will actually be, I'm actually going to take Kirk Cousins here against the 49ers. I think after the week we saw last week, he's going to have a solid performance. And he's going to play well, and I like to see where that's going to go. With Justin Jefferson, it's just too much. I think the Vikings are rolling right now, and I think Kirk Cousins kind of keeps it going with them, and they go in and they beat another good team in 49ers. So he's my start for this week. My fade for this week at quarterback is going to be Ryan Tannehill against Patriots. I don't think Ryan Tannehill is going to have a lot of weapons, so that's going to be my fade for quarterback this week.
Yep. So we'll have the same fade. I have Ryan Tannehill, but my must-start at quarterback is actually going to be Cam Newton. I think the potential of him running the ball. He's been throwing the ball a little bit more, and against a very bad defense, I think he's going to put up a big game this week.
Yeah, he could easily go for 2 rushing touchdowns. Yep. It's just so much when you can get a guy who can run. At quarterback, it changes everything for them. So it's just going to be a big game for them. Let's go ahead and then my must-start for running back this week is actually going to be Miles Sanders.
Same, mine too.
Against a bad Giants defense. I think the Eagles have figured out we're going to run the football. That's all we
Mhm.
need to do to be successful. We're going to run. And I think Miles Sanders has a nice week this week running the football. So I like Miles Sanders.
I agree with that
On
one.
a Giants team that isn't great. So to me, it's going to be nice. My fade at running back this week, it's going to be a tough one, but like you said, we talked about a little bit, is going to be the running backs for Green Bay. It's just both of them, whoever it is, they're playing a solid Rams front, and I just think it's going to be tough for them to keep up and run the football. They're going to have to throw it a lot more than they'd like, and Aaron Jones, if he's not healthy, he's going to take some away from Dylan, and if Jones isn't playing, you're relying a lot on Dylan, and he showed last week he wasn't up to task to do it, so I don't know. I'm interested to see there, but I'm going to sit both of those guys this week.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Even with Aaron Jones plays, if he doesn't play, it's just I think they're going to have to throw the ball a lot more. That running, it may be in the red zone, you can sneak in a touchdown, but it's not going to be consistent.
No.
My fade is actually going to be Myles Gaskin. He had a touchdown last week, had himself a good game, but the big thing is they signed Philip Lindsay.
Mm-hmm.
So it made me think that the Dolphins do not want to use Gaskin as much as they had.
What about Miles Brown? Best player on the team, right?
He's not even. It doesn't even matter. That's how much they don't like Gaskin. I feel like because they signed.
Gaskin is a very.
Yes.
He's not a top He's not a top 10 running back, but he could easily be a top 25.
Yeah.
He catches the ball in the backfield well. He runs well. It's just crazy to me, but yeah, I like that because of what you said. They're also playing the top 5 team for Panthers defense against the run, and you're looking at a Philip Lindsay. He's going to get that goal line work. That's why they brought him in. So yeah, it's a good fade there. Wide receivers here. My must start this week. This one is be close for me on where to go with all these. But I think a must start this week is Michael Pittman against the Bucs defense. He is a player who has shown he's clear-cut number one, and he can do a lot against a Buccaneers team, I think, who struggles against the pass a little bit. They've gotten a lot better, but I love Michael Pittman here against them. My must fade this week at wide receiver is going to be I don't really like you're looking at. I'm actually going to say Jarvis Landry here for the Browns. No, I take that back. I don't want to do that. I'm going to retract that statement, and I'm going to say Jacoby Myers, actually, for the Patriots. I'm going to sit him out this week.
You're just going to sit him?
Just sit him.
Just because it's a great matchup.
I think Aguilar is the guy who he gets more points. So.
Yep, makes that I can't. I have Myers, and it sucks when I have to play him, but because he has those great matchups and just doesn't do much out of it. So I can definitely see that one. My must start is actually going to be Ayuk for the 49ers. I think if they showed last week, Jimmy G, even if Mitchell's out, Jeff Wilson could have a better game, but I think they like to go through the air more. Ayuk scored a touchdown. He's getting the ball more, being targeted more, so he's not having that bad start like he did. So I think he's a must start against a very bad Minnesota team. I think he can have a game like Scantling did last week against the Vikings, and so I think that's a must start.
Yep. That's what Ayuk, I feel like, has shown a lot. He's kind of up and down, but if they have to use Debo as more of a running back, then it opens the door for Ayuk out on the outside. So, good must start here. Who's your fade then?
And then my fade, it's tough. I don't really have an exact fade. But I'm going to go with my fade from last week. I'm going with Claypool. I think Claypool kind of got a little lucky. Got some big plays that I don't think were supposed to be big plays. They just didn't get the Chargers defense just didn't tackle. They're just not that great. So I think the Bengals is going to be a little bit better. They're bounce back. So I'm sitting Claypool this week.
So the last one here, tight end wise, I think if you're looking at these matchups, I want to start the best available tight end. I think that's Noah Fant this week against the Chargers defense, who is 31st against tight ends, haven't been great. And Noah Fant, he's the best option in the red zone outside of Williams and Gordon.
Yep.
So I like Noah Fant this week. I think he's going to have a solid week. We saw last week Freiermuth get in the end zone. and they get targeted him a lot. So I like Fant to be more involved in that pass game. And then the guy I'm seeing this week at tight end is going to be. It's not going to be Goddard like I had last week. He's also got a good matchup. It's going to be here. I don't know. There's so many weird tight ends are just come and goes. You know, it should be Cook on the other side of the ball. Not playing him. Broncos best against tight ends, and Cook does nothing for the Chargers.
Took my exact ones. I thought Noah Fant, a great matchup. Noah Fant's been really been added to this offense a little bit more and just growing. Even with Jared Judy and Sutton out there, he's still been a good tight end. Has 6 targets last week. Just couldn't get into the end zone. So I do like that. And then Jared Cook, never been a Jared Cook fan. It's a terrible matchup for him.
Really screwed us a bunch in St. Louis.
Yep.
So that is our Week 12 preview for Part 2. Our starts and fades for the week. So hopefully it goes out well here. But we'll catch you guys on the Pick'em episode. And good luck in Week 12. Thanks for all the support. Deuces.
See ya.